Firefighters were busy fending off a fire just north of Great Falls. We'll take you there. Plus, lawmakers are being called back from break to make decisions about the Postal Service. We'll share the latest. And later, a new trail to traverse in honor of a Helena woman. Montana This Morning starts now. Good morning. We're glad to have you with us. It's Monday.
Yep, it sure is.
How's your shirt doing over there?
Doing all right. Just trying to
adjusting.
Kind of get put together here.
Just adjusting. Yeah, sometimes it's that last minute kind of rush right before we start the show. Running in. I'm throwing on lipstick. You're adjusting your shirt.
Yeah, I know. You were almost late today.
No.
Yeah,
you were. I was here with a minute 45 to spare.
I think it was more like a minute 15, but that's all right.
Nah.
We'll go with minute 45.
Nah.
It's all right. Almost had to do headlines for you.
Okay. Remember last week when you weren't even here? You were out getting coffee somewhere.
Shannon's hollering over the intercom.
I got like 30 seconds. Where are you?
Spilled
Just getting coffee. It's okay. Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, on the weather scene here, it is going to be a hot week. So with that said, pretty high fire variables. About the only thing we don't really have cooking for a good chunk of the state is wind, thankfully. That's not to say we don't have some windy areas, because we will, and I'll talk about that here momentarily. Currently in Great Falls, though, we're looking at 59 degrees, and that's going to be on the low side here over the next few for morning temperatures. Looking at 46% humidity right now, a little bit breezy out of the west. Looking at a temperature in the capital right now, 64 degrees, humidity at about 40%. As for Fort Benton this morning, 59 degrees, looking nice downtown there, about 45% humidity, some wind out of the south there. All right, as for your weather headlines, here's what we've got. High pressure offering up extreme heat, also pretty high fire danger. Couple of storms possible pretty much every day this week, but really the best chances for seeing a couple of those storms in our area is going to be Thursday. We'll take a little bit closer look at that extended forecast, let you know how things are going to play out for you coming up very shortly in the show. Shannon.
Jason, thank you. Time now is 5:02. And Black Eagle firefighters tell us that because of a wildfire that ignited north of the city on Sunday afternoon, it appears to have started from a person shooting tannerite. Fire Chief Doug Koster says the fire ignited at 123 Lake Flat Lane. Initial calls came in just before 3 p.m. Video and pictures from near the fire show the flames spreading through coulees as well as near homes along Lake Flat Lane ridge line. The fire chief also says around 100 acres burned over several hours as crews tackled flames from above and below to contain the spread. It burned mainly grazing land, and Koster says crews put the fire out before it burned a wheat field or nearby homes. Crews had that fire under control shortly before 6 p.m. and they continued mopping up for several hours. You can find more details from the scene on our website. Well, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling lawmakers back in from their summer recess over the situation with the U.S. Postal Service. President Trump's newly appointed Postmaster General is sparking outcry with calls for major cuts that will lead to big delays in mail. It comes as millions of Americans prepare to vote by mail for the upcoming election. The House is expected to discuss a time to meet today and vote on the Delivering for America Act next Saturday. That would keep the Postal Service from making any operation changes that it didn't already have in place at the start of the year. Well, tonight is the start of the Democratic National Convention, an event that is traditionally the biggest gathering of Democrats every 4 years. But with coronavirus, it'll obviously be different. So what can we expect? Here's our Joe St. George to explain.
If these were normal times on this Monday morning, we would be greeting you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, perhaps showing you a majestic drone shot of all that Wisconsin has to offer. But these are not normal times, and tonight's Democratic convention will look very different from the one 4 years ago. For one thing, there won't be crowded arenas like the ones that greeted Hillary Clinton.
How are you going to be watching the Democratic convention?
I'm watching on Amazon Fire TV.
Democrats know there's a chance this could mean fewer Americans tune in and watch. It's why they produced this advertisement. Convention planners tell me they've also hired additional production crews to make this convention pop, and we've already seen some signs of that in recent press events with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in recent days. But in previous years, watching these conventions at home was really all about the speeches, and there will be plenty of speeches beginning this evening. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is tonight's keynote speaker. Senator Bernie Sanders will speak, along with Ohio's former governor John Kasich and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Not to be outdone, President Trump is also speaking today in the swing states. He'll be speaking in Minnesota and Wisconsin this afternoon. In Washington and not Wisconsin, I'm Joe St. George.
Here at home, the Helena City Commission has named Rachel Harlow-Schock as its choice to become the next city manager. Mayor Wilmot Collins announced this weekend that the commission had reached a consensus to pursue a contract with Harlow-Schock after about an hour of deliberations. Harlow-Schock is currently the state of Colorado's deputy director of local government. She worked in the state's local government center and previously held several positions with the city of Westminster, Colorado. In all, Helena received 94 applications for the city manager position. The City Commission narrowed the field to 2 finalists who came to Helena this weekend for final interviews. The other finalist was Troy Smith, Deputy City Manager of Commerce City, Colorado. Well, we're still several weeks away from seeing the University of Montana's fall enrollment numbers, but UN President Seth Bodnar said he's anticipating more Missoula area grads will be staying close to home this fall for safe learning during coronavirus. Here's MTN's Dennis Bragg.
When had to close physical operations last spring during the pandemic, Bodnar was immediately encouraging graduates and older students to not delay learning because of the uncertainties impacting higher education. His argument was that Montana students could stay close to home but maintain their momentum toward a degree. Now, with students returning to campus and classes about to open, we asked him whether there might be a strong mix of local students at this fall. How many people do you think students have taken advantage of that? What's the mix, and what's our enrollment picture look like going into this fall?
Well, in some ways it's hard to know right now. I think a lot of families and a lot of students are still in decision mode at this point. I will tell you that we have, again, our core has been, we're here to enable you to continue to pursue your dreams even during a pandemic. And so our key has been, we're going to provide flexible options that meet your needs as students. And I would tell you, I think we have seen some Missoula students who've said, I want to stay a little closer to home.
Bodnar notes there are bright spots ahead with enrollment, even with the pandemic, with student retention rates the highest in a decade. Yet there are still challenges ahead. The postponement of fall sports alone will shift millions of dollars on the state's campuses, a move that already has raised concerns at the Montana University system. Bodnar says that could mean cuts, but with the same adaptability it's already taken this year.
We're going to have to make some budget adjustments, but I will tell you what will be central to everything we do is the success of our students. And it's not just reductions, it's reallocations. There are going to be certain areas where we're going to add resources. There are going to be certain areas where we reduce resources to best serve our students.
In Missoula, Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
5:08 here on your Monday morning. Coming up on Montana this morning, traversing the wilderness. We'll tag along for an extreme trail run next.
And later in your weather forecast, we are going to be tracking a heightened fire danger once again this week as temperatures continue to climb. Looking in north central Montana, fire weather watch, very hot, low humidity levels. That actually goes into effect tomorrow, but you'll notice today there is going to be a little bit of a fire weather concern into that area with some stronger wind as well. More on your forecast is coming up very shortly.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Welcome back. We're glad to have you along on this Monday, August 17th. Time now is 5:10. We hope your morning is off to a great start. Well, coronavirus has canceled many events over the summer, but 20 long-distance runners proved that not even a pandemic can take away your passion. They ran 50 miles across the Bob Marshall Wilderness late last month, and MTN alumni Frank Field takes us there.
The run across the Bob, or Rat Bob, began around 6 a.m., entering the wilderness near Seeley Lake. The path meandered about 50 miles, ending at Holland Lake to the north. This was the 8th Rat Bob, loosely organized by Missoula resident Steve Brown.
It's just kind of a labor of love. I love being in the Bob. I love watching people's reaction when they see places. It's just fun for me to take different people back there and to see it and experience it and listen to them talk about it.
The conditions were incredibly varied, from desert-like dusty trails to creek crossings, deep mud, and slow climbs, including one to the top of Cardinal Peak, some 8,000 feet high. It was work, and I won't lie, there were moments I wondered if someone would have to call for our rescue to get me out. I should have given myself time to acclimate after driving over from Seattle to participate. But every step provided an unparalleled opportunity.
No towns, no vending machines, no power. You're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's spectacular. And it's spaces that most people don't get to see. And I feel so fortunate that my body takes me there.
In places, the vegetation was so thick you couldn't see the trail at all. We lost it several times. I was glad to be with experienced trail runners. I live in Seattle now, but I was born and raised in Montana and always wanted to see the Bob. Thanks to Rat Bob runners, I got to.
When I told a lot of friends and family I was going to do this, the first question a lot of people had was, why? Which is understandable. But honestly, I feel like, why not? There's so much turmoil in the world, so much unhappiness. We can't let that stop us from pursuing our dreams, pursuing goals, moving forward, right? And nobody's going to mistake me. Nobody who knows me would mistake me for some positive thinker, right? But, you know, with a little bit of planning and a little bit of preparation, we can still do these things. And so, 35 miles into this today, it's been really hard. I don't think I've ever done anything this hard in my life. But every second has been worth it. I would do it again.
And that was Frank Field reporting. Well, there is now a new trail next to the Montana Wild Education Center and near Spring Meadow Lake State Park. The quarter-mile trail was previously one before a fire swept through it. Environmental advocacy group Last Chance Arboretum decided to resurrect the trail and dedicate it to Jane Beasley, the former owner of Birds and Beasleys in Helena. She passed away last year. The current owner, Jane's daughter Sandy, says Jane had a big admiration for nature and birds, and this trail represents what Jane cared for, having nature bring the community together.
Okay, it brought tears to my eyes. It was just really cool. Mom was a pretty special person to all of us. But I've worked with her hand in hand for the last 24 years, and so she just loved nature and people. So when Audubon called us up and said, hey, you know, we're going to do this trail, I was just shocked, because I was thinking the memorial would go to something else. It's just been really, really touching.
Montana Conservation Corps and AmeriCorps members did the labor on the trail. Sandy hopes to get a sign up for it to be officially named the Jane Beasley Memorial Trail.
Up next in your weather forecast, temperatures are going to skyrocket this week as high pressure rebuilds across the states. All right, today we're going to be about 68 degrees as you're heading out the door, hitting the 90s already around the noon hour, and then high 90s this afternoon, flirting with the triple digits today throughout central Montana. 65 this morning, well into the 80s, and then high 90s with just a couple of clouds out there this afternoon. We'll break down that sweltering forecast, let you know how long the temperatures are going to last coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Jason Laird.
Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully your day is treating you well so far. 58 degrees already in Great Falls, looking at 60 in the capital, and already pushing a couple of 70s throughout the eastern plains bright and early here on this Monday. So with all this crazy temperature spike across the board, National Weather Service does have a heat advisory going into effect here, or as has been in effect, I should say, and that's going to take us through Tuesday at 9 p.m. That's when the temperatures are going to remain the hottest. Today, likely the hottest. We'll kind of back off a little bit as the week progresses, but overall, it's going to be a very, very hot and dry week across the board. 98 degrees on tap for Great Falls today. Same story for the capital, flirting with the triple digits west of the divide and going to hit the triple digits along the High Line. Havre 101 today, 100 degrees in Glasgow, 103 in Jordan today. So really the big talking point, again, these little white lines are pressure levels. That shows us where that ridge of high pressure is building. It's going to continue to amplify as the day plays out. Couple weak little storms thunderstorms not out of the question throughout southwestern Montana. Those little splash and dash showers and thunderstorms are likely pretty much every day this week. Thursday will present the best chance of some stronger storms, most of which are going to remain over the mountains. So again, the lightning concern, fire danger rather high there. And you'll notice overnight into tomorrow morning, a couple showers, thunderstorms not out of the question over the mountains from Butte to Helena. Overall, though, tonight we're going to be cooling off, if you want to call that cool. 65 in Great Falls, 63 in the capital, staying in the mid 60s throughout the eastern plains. Tomorrow we'll still have that heat advisory in effect. We're also going to have a fire weather watch going into effect into north central Montana. The reason behind that, a little bit of an uptick in the wind in that region. Looking at the upper 90s again tomorrow, triple digits throughout the eastern plains, slightly cooler, but still very hot. 95 in Great Falls, 94 in the capital. Lewistown at about 91 as well. Tomorrow, we're going to continue to see that ridge of high pressure stay camped over the state. We'll see a little bit of an increase in the clouds tomorrow, hence why the temperatures are a little bit cooler throughout central Montana, and a couple little isolated storms primarily over the mountains. Again, the biggest concern here is a lot of dry lightning out of these storms expected, but really minimal impacts, maybe just a little splash and dash storm over the next couple of days. We'll see highs then on Wednesday, still hot, but a little bit cooler, 91 in Great Falls, 88 degrees in the capital, still looking at the upper 90s throughout the eastern plains. Very hot and dry week on tap. Your extended forecast Wednesday, that ridge of high pressure still going to stay camped out over the state. It's going to flatten a little tiny bit. So Wednesday evening, maybe a little bit better chance of moisture. And then Thursday, little hiccup there in that ridge of high pressure could open up the door for a few splash and dash showers. A little bit better chance of thunderstorms there. But overall, this ridge of high pressure pretty much staying camped out as we head toward the weekend. So really a hot and dry week, and staying pretty hot and dry even into the weekend. So Great Falls today, 98 degrees, mid 90s tomorrow. A little bit of an increase in clouds there. Best chance of showers, thunderstorms will be Thursday. Still going to be on the isolated side though, and then staying hot as we head into the weekend. The capital today, 98 degrees, well into the 90s through Tuesday. Little hiccup in the temperatures Wednesday, Thursday, but staying hot through the weekend. Shannon.
Jason, thank you. It is 5:21 on your Monday. Still to come, a reason to celebrate. We'll tell you why this panda is extra special coming up next.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Welcome back. It's 5:24 on your Monday morning, and the world's oldest panda in captivity is celebrating her 38th birthday. Fans visited the zoo in southwest China to bake her a cake there, or make her a cake. I guess you probably don't have to bake it since it was out of fruits, leaves, and bamboo.
I don't know. Maybe you bake it.
Maybe
Who
you
knows?
do.
Try the recipe there. They sang birthday songs as she
picking through it
as she walked out of her home and up the stairs to enjoy her cake there. The giant panda Xing Xing weighs about 100 kilograms. She's given birth to 10 baby pandas.
Wow.
And however, just over 150 descendants in the zoos around the world.
Some busy pandas.
Yeah, there are barely 30 pandas over the age of 30 worldwide that we know of. So she's definitely,
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, 38 years old.
There's nothing better than panda videos.
So true. Can you tell? She's like, really? You're gonna make me?
I know, right?
Come out of my house.
This is my birthday.
Walk up the stairs just to get
Could
my
you just
cake.
bring the cake to me?
Yeah. Like,
and be
come
done
on.
with it.
I'm an old lady. Do you have to
goodness.
make me walk up the stairs? Yeah.
I think pandas, though, you know, they always have, like, cats have 9 lives. Pandas have to have, like, at least double
because
that.
they fall so much.
Oh, my goodness. You watch, like, the little babies, they'll, like, crawl up to the top of a tree and just, you know,
it is pretty
all
cute.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I do follow about 3 baby panda pages on Facebook.
There's another, while I'm producing the shows in the morning, I have various, overnight news programs going on. And there was other programs talking about pandas, but this is preparation for a panda that's expecting now. So different panda.
Gotcha. Okay.
So they were calling it, pandemonium happening, getting ready, and, live webcams on those pandas, preparing for the birth
I
of
swear
new
news
pandas.
has the worst puns.
Pandemonium.
Really?
It's like dad jokes, right?
Golly, they all do it too. We do it. Everybody does it. You watch the news and it's
I
like,
think it's funny.
they're stupid. Anyways.
You like it?
No, I don't. All right. Great Falls looking pretty mild already this morning. Same story for the capital. It is going to be a toasty one today. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple areas right here near home are going to hit the triple digits. I mean, we're
Wow.
looking at like 98 today.
Whew.
So with all that warm air, heat advisory in effect through Tuesday evening. And
Maybe you should stop talking. There won't be so much hot air.
Oh my goodness.
Heyo.
Okay.
Another dad joke.
Yeah, I was going to say. Anyways, looking at local burn bans throughout western Montana, and then we do have those stage 1s increasing into Carbon County there in south central Montana as well. So today's forecast, hot one, 100 degrees in Glasgow, Cutbank at 95, Great Falls in the capital both at 98 today.
All right, well, natural gas prices soar as heat waves hit larger parts of the U.S. and the U.S.-China trade deal review is postponed as China ramps up farm energy purchases.
And Jen King is in New York with those stories and more.
Well, the U.S. and China have delayed a review of their Phase 1 trade deal. Sources familiar with the plan told Reuters that they cited scheduling conflicts and the need to allow time for more Chinese purchases of U.S. exports. China's imports of U.S. farm, energy, and other things are well behind the pace needed to meet the first-year target increase of $77 billion over 2017 purchases. They will review that deal in 6 months. Well, natural gas prices spiked by nearly 9% Friday. Forecasts for hot weather were part of the reason. Air conditioning usage is expected to increase as people try to cope with the heat wave, and that increases the demand for natural gas. Well, Walmart, Sam's Club set a goal to source beef more sustainably by 2025. The retail giant exploring soil health, animal welfare, responsible use of antibiotics, and partnerships. Walmart acknowledged the important role of the nation's farmers and ranchers in keeping well-managed grazing lands that can help secure clean water, enhance habitat, sustain rural communities, and store additional carbon in the soil. And Rave apples may be recognized by Instagram with a verified page. So that would make the apples the social media network's first verified fruit. Now, playing off the fact that Rave is an apple that people rave about, Stemmel's first verified fruit campaign dedicated to sharing feel-good or positive content about apples while driving community engagement and gathering followers. From New York, I'm Jane King with your Ag and Energy Report.
Coming up this half hour, firefighters were busy fending off a blaze just north of Great Falls. We'll take you there. Plus, lawmakers are being called back from break to make decisions about the Postal Service. We'll share the latest. And coming up later, pepperoni pizza fans, your favorite topping could be in jeopardy. We'll explain why. Montana This Morning starts now.
From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Sad news for you already to start.
Yeah,
the
do you
day,
ever
huh?
just buy pepperoni and eat it?
I've done that
not
before.
like you know, like the sauce, like just sliced up pepperonis.
That you get in the deli or whatever.
So good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
It's like a snack.
Pepperoni pizza is not my favorite.
Yeah, you just go for cheese.
Love all the cheese. I like some mushrooms in there too. Maybe mushroom and sausage.
Oh, I can do that. That's
Yeah.
okay. If you were just gonna say cheese and mushroom, you're like, what?
You've got to have the meat on there.
Yeah,
don't
you gotta have something. Sausage, you know. I don't know.
I'm good. You could.
I remember I grew up with a kid who called it pepperoni.
Pepperoni.
He's from Texas. I wonder if that's a thing down there. But yeah,
I don't think so.
I don't
think
know.
that's just mispronouncing
I don't know
it.
why that came to my mind, but yeah, one of my friends in grade school always called it pepperoni.
Pepperoni.
Pepperoni. I don't know where that came from. 59 in Great Falls here, pretty mild to start things off on the U.S. Bank ICAM. Looking at 64 in the capital. Calm winds right now on the Opportunity Bank ICAM. Today's allergy forecast, pretty much a carbon copy of last week. Grass is kind of the troublesome allergy out there, especially as conditions continue to dry out. UV index today rated at 7, so burn time 25 minutes, but I don't always trust this index because today, sunny skies and temperatures at 98. There's
so you
no
think
way
it should be higher?
Yeah, I think it should be way higher. So if you're going to be outside, grab the sunscreen, water, that sort of deal. The hot temperatures all due to a huge high pressure ridge. So we're going to see the hottest temperatures of the year this week. We'll break down that forecast shortly. Shannon.
All right, Jason, thank you. Time now is 5:33. We're on Fire Watch this morning. Black Eagle firefighters tell us the cause of a wildfire that ignited north of town Sunday afternoon appears to have started from a person shooting tannerite. The Black Eagle Fire Chief, Doug Koster, said the fire ignited at 123 Lake Flat Lane, initially just before 3 p.m. Video and pictures from near the fire shows flames spreading through coulees and near homes along the Lake Flat Lane ridgeline. And he says that around over 100 acres burned over several hours as crews tackled flames from both above and below to contain the spread. It burned mainly grazing land. Koster says fire crews put it out before it burnt a wheat field. or nearby homes. Crews had the fire under control shortly before 6 p.m., and firefighters continued mopping up for several hours. We have more details from the scene on our website. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling lawmakers back in from their summer recess over the situation with the U.S. Postal Service. President Trump's newly appointed Postmaster General is sparking outcry with calls for major cuts that will lead to big delays in mail. It comes as millions of Americans prepare to vote by mail for the upcoming election. The House is expected to discuss a time to meet today and vote on the Delivering for America Act next Saturday. That would keep the Postal Service from making any operation changes that it didn't already have in place at the start of the year. And as people worry about their local post offices closing, merchandise sales are way up. Many Americans are trying to show their support as offices cut hours and get rid of equipment like high-speed letter sorters. Those changes were made by the new Postmaster General, who says it's because of funding issues. Things like T-shirts, backpacks, and hoodies were selling out over the weekend. There's also been an uptick in the number of people buying stamps. Montana Dphhs is reporting 92 new coronavirus cases in the state Sunday. That brings the total active case count to 1,500. Cascade County is sitting at 45 cases, Lewis and Clark 65. More than 4,100 people have recovered from the virus so far. Montana State University is rolling out a new program to help students adjust. Some people may feel like they've lost out on some opportunities because of coronavirus, but as MTN's Annie Johnson tells us at MSU, coronavirus has actually created some jobs on campus.
The thought of thousands of college-age students coming from other states in the middle of a pandemic may seem a little concerning, but officials here at Montana State University say they're doing everything they can to make sure campus is safe.
We're going to be hiring case managers. The case manager is that person that will help our student who's in isolation or quarantine.
MSU announced earlier this week plans to hire more employees to help students out during such an unusual time.
They're going to be following up with them. What do you need? Do you need food? Do you need laundry? What do you need? So that student for those days don't feel that he or she is totally by himself.
And students on campus seem to love the idea.
Hearing that, that's pretty awesome, because that is one thing that you think of is what if you do get sick and you don't have anyone to go do those things for you, or if you're a freshman living in the dorms, how are you supposed to go out and get food and do things like that? And so that's really awesome at our campus.
Yeah, that fear of not being able to go to your classes or experience everything, and having someone that can help you out with that is such a huge support. So that's really good of MSU, and I'm actually really impressed because I've never heard about that either. So that is awesome.
As families walked around to see the campus and take pictures in front of the Bobcat statue, there was an exciting energy that students were eager to come back, and they trusted their school to do what they can to keep them safe.
Taking so many precautions now that it's just it's not even an issue to me. So that's what I love about it. This campus is so open. It just makes it really easy and friendly environment.
Yeah. The start of the semester begins this Monday, August 17th. Reporting on campus, Annie Johnson, MTN News.
It's Monday morning. Time now is 5:37. Coming up, straight to consumers, we'll have some do's and don'ts of ag marketing next.
And later in your weather forecast, we've had some pretty aggressive high-pressure ridges over the past few weeks. This one is going to trump all of those. Big high-pressure ridge is going to camp out over the state, and you notice it's really not going too terribly far. A couple little hiccups will move through, kicking off maybe a few storms, but overall, very hot and dry conditions as we head into the weekend. Your detailed forecast is coming up shortly.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Good morning to you. We're glad to have you along on this Monday. It's about 20 minutes now to the top of the hour, 5:40. Welcome back. In this morning's Montana Ag Network feature, Lane Nordland introduces us to a Molt, Montana rancher who's taking her knowledge and experience of direct marketing meat to consumers and sharing it in an upcoming webinar series.
In 2015, rancher Sarah and Hank Hollenbeck started High Five Meats, selling their ranch meat directly to consumers. Starting on Tuesday, August 18th, High Five Meats will share their knowledge on the do's and don'ts of direct marketing through a webinar series.
I've spoken at a number of conferences over the years, and a lot of people come up to me afterward and say, I've always wanted to try it, but I just don't know how to get started. I don't know how to begin. And so I've been getting just, bombarded with questions from people on the internet, in person, all the time asking me questions. And I love answering them. I love connecting with people one-on-one. But I see this huge need for someone like myself that has been doing it for a few years and can kind of give them the information that they need to get started.
The webinar series will begin on Tuesday, August 18th and occur consecutively for the next 4 Tuesdays in a row. The topics for the direct-to-consumer webinar series include starting out, pricing, processing, marketing, and shipping. In total, expert guests will discuss every aspect of the direct-to-consumer model.
Given current times, a lot of people are interested in selling their own meat. I thought, okay, instead of someone trying to jump into this, not necessarily know exactly what they're doing, maybe giving a customer a bad first interaction, I don't want that to happen. I want it to be a good, positive relationship on the rancher side, on the customer side. And so I think if I can give some information on how to make that a seamless interaction, that will hopefully keep people coming back and trying to buy direct from a ranch or farm.
Reporting, Lane Nordlund, MTN News.
Well, pepperoni is the latest commodity in short supply because of the coronavirus. Prices for the cured sausages have shot up 50% this summer. Some pizza shop owners say at times they haven't been able to find any to buy. Experts say pepperoni production in particular is particularly labor intensive, and most meat plants simply haven't had enough workers available since the pandemic began. Jason, got to figure out a new favorite for now.
Highly unfortunate, highly unfortunate circumstances. All right, in Great Falls here, yesterday's almanac was 96. Today, it's going to be even hotter than that. Average would be 83 for this time of the year. So today's hour-by-hour forecast, 90 degrees already by the noon hour, then high 90s this afternoon. Capital yesterday, we pegged out at 97. Average would be 85. Today's temperatures, again, even by the noon hour, 86 degrees, well into the 90s this afternoon. Forecast is coming up after the break.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Jason Laird.
Well, grab the sunscreen and the water. You're going to need it today. 58 degrees already in Great Falls at this hour, 60 in the capital, pushing the 70s throughout the eastern plains, looking at a hot one on tap. And with all those temperatures on the rise, National Weather Service has issued a heat advisory for pretty much all of eastern Montana. They've also now just extended that into central and north central Montana as well. And here's why. Temperatures at 98 degrees today, 98 in the capital. Again, if you are sensitive to that heat, just stay where it's air conditioned, because temperatures like this will definitely do some damage there. Looking at the triple digits along the High Line, 97 in Hayes, 103 in Jordan today. So at the map that we're looking at, or on the map we're looking at here, again, these white lines are pressure levels. So that kind of shows us where that ridge of high pressure is, and it's camped out just to our south. That's going to offer up mostly clear conditions today. Pretty much every day this week, we can't rule out some spotty mountain showers, most of which are going to stay into southwestern Montana, just south of the capital. But again, a little breakaway storm here or there, not out of the question. The biggest concern with those passing storms is you'll get an occasional increase in the wind, and then you'll also see a lot of lightning out of these systems. So again, over the dry mountains, not something you really want to, or keep in the back of your mind, I guess. 65 degrees tonight for your overnight low in Great Falls. A little bit cooler in the capital at 63, mid-60s throughout the eastern plains. Heat advisory staying into effect tomorrow. The big difference tomorrow is we are going to see a little bit of an increase in wind in north central Montana. So a fire weather watch is going to take us through the day there. And here's what we got cooking temperature-wise tomorrow. Literally cooking out there. Mid-90s throughout central Montana. A little bit cooler, but still triple digits expected throughout the eastern plains. Tomorrow, we're going to continue to see that high pressure build. A little bit of an increase in clouds, though. That's why those temperatures are going to be slightly cooler, and we'll have a little bit better chance of a couple little mountain storms maybe breaking into the plains. I mean, these are very minimal, very low coverage, not anything to really change your plans over by any means. So construction projects, that sort of thing, I wouldn't really worry about them too much, but just kind of keep an eye to the sky there, and then clearing up again overnight. By Wednesday, still hot, but a little bit cooler. 91 in Great Falls, 88 in the capital, still well into the 90s throughout the eastern plains. And here's what we've got going on Wednesday. That ridge of high pressure is going to stay amplified. We'll have a little bit better chance there of a couple of storms Wednesday night. Still a better chance on Thursday, about a 40% shot there. So likely going to see a little bit more coverage out of those storms Thursday, but really overall that high pressure ridge is going to dictate the forecast, keeping us very hot and dry as we head toward the weekend. So today 98 degrees, couple of clouds at times, partly cloudy tomorrow, and then again Thursday will present the best chance for a couple isolated showers and thunderstorms to make their way into the plains, and then hot and sunny as we head toward the weekend. In the capital, 98 degrees today, hot, a little bit cooler Wednesday, Thursday with some storms, and 90s for the weekend. Shannon.
Jason, thank you. Time now is 5:49. Families struggling with the loss or grief from COVID-19 can find support from the Red Cross. The Red Cross began a virtual family assistance center with mental health, spiritual care, and health services. One volunteer in Helena is part of this network. MTN's Alexia Guayo has the story.
Abby Calussi is a disaster mental health lead volunteer for Red Cross. Although she has been volunteering for 3 years, Abby served a 2-month term virtually this year, something she says is not typical in her line of work.
Again, being a mental health volunteer, we're always there. We're always used to being in person with individuals, being able to hug them and being able to console them or put our hand on their shoulder. We weren't able, obviously, to do that.
Because of the pandemic, the Red Cross has stopped deployments. However, the same services are provided, but over the phone through the Virtual Family Assistance Center that Abby says began in May.
So it's a national database, so then the phone call just gets forwarded to your cell phone, and then you kind of take some background information, intake information from them, seeing what their support is, what they need. You know, virtual is some kind of connection to local resources, or if they did lose a family member, do they know how to have a memorial service or funeral service, not really being able to gather with other individuals.
And if needed, Abby also says she would follow up with individuals to see how they were doing. Overall, Abby feels grateful to help others in the pandemic.
But then definitely hearing the stories, you know, of people living in their cars because they have lost their job or their, place of residence, due to the disease. I'm very thankful for that I haven't been impacted, but yet I'm able to give back to people who have been affected.
Anyone suffering from the COVID-19 pandemic is encouraged to contact the Red Cross Virtual Family Assistance Center for help. In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
5:51, still to come on Montana this morning. We were working hard for our weekend adventure, and I got to learn a new skill. Stay with us, we'll tell you all about it.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
7 minutes away from 6 o'clock here, 5:53 on your morning, and on this Monday morning, and taking a look back at our weekend adventures. This is over at our good friend's parents' house, Lee, and that's his parents, Marty and Fred. And we've been working, this has been an ongoing project. We ripped this deck out a long time ago, but they've been getting some siding redone, and evidently the siders are taking their, that's been quite a nightmare. So anyways, you're pouring the footings for that deck here this weekend. So Shannon, you had quite the, there's Lee. Look at Lee, just standing there supervising.
Okay,
no,
we
Lee
should
did a lot
say
of work.
Lee did a lot of work, So this was, I got to learn, I've never gotten to really learn how to mix concrete before. So, got to learn kind of the right mixture there. Fred giving me some lessons on that.
Yeah, and you really got it down to a science. You guys had it down
to a
there.
science. I had one that got a little too much water in it, but
well, and what's so interesting is, so Lee's parents, they literally live right behind my grandma's house, or what used to be my grandma's house.
You know that neighborhood well.
And I remember when I first moved to town, they helped me move in. I went over to their house for dinner, and I was tired, wasn't really paying attention to what neighborhood I was in, And I was like, yeah, my grandma used to live over here. And they're like, oh, like across the alley. So literally, it's kind of crazy. My dad grew up in that area.
Yeah, interesting.
And all that. So it's kind of surreal. Yeah, it's kind of surreal to be literally working in the yard right behind my grandma's old house. Yeah, but no, it was quite the adventure here this weekend. Is that you?
That's me. You were teaching
me.
You were teaching me how to smooth it out there. You know, first try there.
She didn't even scribble her name in any of the wet concrete. I was waiting for it. Now, that's why I didn't make mention of it while we were doing it, because there'd be
I did go
Shannon
back,
was
and I was
here.
kind of like
Shannon was
feeling,
here. Yeah.
Should have done that. Did you do that?
No.
You would.
Lee and I actually did talk about it. We were like, we should go leave a bunch of messages on all the concrete footings there.
That's funny. Yeah, for years down the road when somebody rips up this deck.
Right.
Yeah.
right? But yeah, no, kind of a fun weekend.
Yeah, it was fun.
A lot of work.
It was hard work.
Done.
Hard work. They fed us well, though.
Oh,
and we
yeah.
learned I learned new skills.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Always got to keep Shannon up to
I'm
date
ready.
on the
Ready for
construction
hire.
projects, Yeah.
Ready for
yep,
hire.
That's right.
Yep.
Official concrete
Come
mixer here.
move those. Ooh, that was a workout, though. Unloading those 60-pound bags of concrete out of getting the squats in and the arms.
There was a lot, too. There was
a lot of bags.
But it's always funny
bags.
when we don't put, like, what we did over the weekend. We'll be out in public, and people
ask.
are always like, "Where's your weekend adventure? Like, what'd you do this weekend?" I was like, "I mowed the
Pulled
lawn."
some weeds.
I pulled some weeds. But so there you go. That's what we spent our Saturday doing. So good time there. Got a good tan going, too.
Got a good tan. And it was actually really nice out there.
It was
not super hot yet.
Terrible.
Yeah.
This week, on the other hand, it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
So currently in Fort Benton, we're looking at 59 degrees, humidity at about 48%, wind calm at this hour. Currently in Great Falls on the U.S. Bank ICAM, 58 degrees, humidity at 47, tiny bit of a breeze. Thankfully, we're not tracking a ton of wind here. I mean, it's going to be hot and dry and humidity levels are going to be very low, but thankfully there's not a ton of wind on tap. We'll kind of have to keep an eye out, though, over the next couple of days as that may change on us. Today's smoke plume forecast looking pretty decent. I wouldn't be surprised if a little bit makes it into the state. I know the forecast isn't showing it, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a light haze out there. Overall air quality looking good. It's way out west of Montana that air quality is going to kind of deteriorate a little bit today. So 98 sweltering degrees in Great Falls in the capital, hundo there in Glasgow.
Wow, Glasgow getting the heat today. All right, we'll stay with us. Your Farm and Ranch Report with the Montana Ag Network is next. Coming up this half hour, lawmakers are being called back from break to make decisions about the Postal Service. We'll share the latest. Plus, chase your dreams, virtual dreams, how one business is trying to build their success despite starting right as coronavirus ramped up. And later, a new trail to traverse in honor of a Helena woman. Montana This Morning starts now.
From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Couldn't have written that for myself. It's too early to try to. A new trail to traverse.
Yeah, say that 4 times fast. Huh?
Can't do it. Can't say it once.
Yeah, clearly. That's okay. Now, I shouldn't say that because now it's going to be a
it's going to come back
major
to get you.
nightmare. Always does.
Listen for it.
Yeah, we got a rather hot week on tap here. You thought it's been hot over the past couple of weeks. Wait till this week rolls around. Yeah, we're going to be flirting with the triple digits here at home and Eastern Plains well into the triple digits. Currently, as you're waking up in Great Falls on the U.S. Bank ICAM, we're reading in at 58 degrees, humidity at 47%. Very dry and hot week here today. In the capital, starting to see a little bit of sun creep in there. 65 already on the Opportunity Bank ICAM. At least wind isn't going to be a huge factor as of now. Humidity very low in Geyser at 35%. 62 degrees already, some wind out of the southwest at about 9 miles per hour. Fishing forecast here today, we're looking at the high 90s, a little tiny bit of a breeze. Overall, not too bad though. Condition-wise, we are going to be tracking a couple of isolated storms pretty much every day, most of which will stay over the mountains. Thursday will present the best chance for maybe a couple of those storms visiting us here into central and north central Montana. So high pressure is going to offer up extreme heat, of course a heightened fire danger, some spotty storms possible there as you saw on Thursday. Overall though, temperatures skyrocketing as we head into a new work week. We'll talk about just how hot it's going to get in some of the areas that are going to be in the hundos today. We'll break down that forecast very shortly. Shannon.
Jason, thanks. 6:05 now on your Monday. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling lawmakers back in from their summer recess over the situation with the U.S. Postal Service. President Trump's newly appointed Postmaster General is sparking outcry with calls for major cuts that could lead to big delays in mail. It comes as millions of Americans prepare to vote by mail for the upcoming election. The House is expected to discuss a time to meet today and vote on the Delivering for America Act next Saturday. That will keep the Postal Service from making any operational changes that it didn't already have in place at the start of the year. And as people worry about their local post offices closing, merchandise sales are way up. Many Americans are trying to show their support as offices cut hours and get rid of equipment like high-speed letter sorters. Those changes were made by the new Postmaster General because of funding issues. Things like T-shirts, backpacks, and hoodies were selling out over the weekend. There's also been an uptick in the number of people buying stamps. The Helena City Commission has named Rachel Harlow Schacht as its choice to become the next city manager. Mayor Wilmot Collins announced this weekend that the commission has reached a consensus to pursue a contract with Harlow Schacht after about an hour of deliberations. Harlow Schacht is currently the state of Colorado's Deputy Director of Local Government. She's worked in the state's Local Government Center and previously held several positions with the city of Westminster, Colorado. In all, Helena received 94 applications for the city manager position. The City Commission narrowed the field to 2 finalists who came to Helena this weekend for final interviews. The other finalist was Troy Smith, Deputy City Manager of Commerce City, Colorado. Chase Your Dreams VR in Great Falls was only a month old when they had to temporarily close their doors in March. This week on Montana Cares, MTN's Matt Holzaffel shows us that even during a pandemic, there's always time to chase your dreams.
This week on Montana Cares, don't adjust your TV sets. This isn't alternate reality, it's virtual reality. We're at Chase Your Dreams VR in downtown Great Falls. The locally owned business opened in February of this year before having to close in March. Now in August, they've been open again for over a month, and the owners say they're doing well. Let's go inside.
We couldn't really do anything. It was really tough, but then they started reopening, allowing us to take private bookings, which is what we're doing right now.
Chase Morgan is not your typical business owner, but Chase Your Dreams is not your typical business.
The idea came from when we were in Idaho. There was a virtual reality arcade down there, and we went there. I was with a friend, and we just loved it. And so when we actually got out of that place and were driving around, I was like, what if we had something like this in Great Falls?
Thanks to some help from the CARES Act.
It gave us a little bit just to stay open for those 2 months during the quarantine so that we could push through to the other side so that we could be here where we are right now.
And a bit of fun. Chase Your Dreams is ready to help you keep chasing yours.
Future looks like a lot of fun, a lot of exciting adventures that you can have in VR. I mean, we are ready to have people in and have them have fun in here.
Not only is Chase Your Dreams VR back open again, but they're taking appointments online. All they ask is you book at least 24 hours ahead and wear a mask. In Great Falls, Matt Holzaffel, MTN News.
It's 6:08 here on your Monday. Coming up on Montana This Morning, traversing the wilderness. We'll tag along for an extreme trail run next.
And later in your weather forecast, it's going to be another very, very hot week as strong high pressure builds across the state. Smoke plume forecast today, most of it should stay south of the state. I wouldn't be surprised though, even though it's not showing up, a little bit more drifts into our area, especially down into southwestern Montana. Overall air quality trending good this morning. Your forecast is coming up shortly.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Welcome back. We're glad to have you along on this Monday. It's August 17th, a live look out over the capital city this morning. Time now is 6:11. Coronavirus has canceled numerous events across the state this summer, but 20 long-distance runners proved that not even a pandemic can take away your passion. They ran 50 miles across the Bob Marshall Wilderness late last month. MTN alumni Frank Field was part of that group and gives us an inside look.
The run across the Bob, or Rat Bob, began around 6 a.m., entering the wilderness near Seeley Lake. The path meandered about 50 miles, ending at Holland Lake to the north. This was the 8th Rat Bob, loosely organized by Missoula resident Steve Brown.
It's just kind of a labor of love. I love being in the Bob. I love watching people's reaction when they see places. It's just fun for me to take different people back there and to see it and experience it and listen to them talk about it.
The conditions were incredibly varied, from desert-like dusty trails to creek crossings, deep mud, and slow climbs, including one to the top of Cardinal Peak, some 8,000 feet high. It was work, and I won't lie, there were moments I wondered if someone would have to call for our rescue to get me out. I should have given myself time to acclimate after driving over from Seattle to participate. But every step provided an unparalleled opportunity.
No towns, no vending machines, no power. You're out in the middle of nowhere and it's spectacular. And it's spaces that most people don't get to see. And I feel so fortunate that my body takes me there.
In places, the vegetation was so thick you couldn't see the trail at all. We lost it several times. I was glad to be with experienced trail runners. I live in Seattle now, but I was born and raised in Montana and always wanted to see the Bob. Thanks to Rat Bob runners, I got to.
When I told a lot of friends and family I was going to do this, the first question a lot of people had was, why? Which is understandable. But honestly, I feel like, why not? There's so much turmoil in the world, so much unhappiness. We can't let that stop us from pursuing our dreams, pursuing goals, moving forward, right? And nobody's going to mistake me. Nobody who knows me would mistake me for some positive thinker, right? But, you know, with a little bit of planning and a little bit of preparation, we can still do these things. And so, 35 miles into this today, it's been really hard. I don't think I've ever done anything this hard in my life. But every second has been worth it. I would do it again.
And that was Frank Field reporting. There's a new trail next to the Montana Wild Education Center and near Spring Meadow Lake State Park. The quarter-mile trail was previously a trail before a fire swept through it. Environmental advocacy group Last Chance Audubon decided to resurrect the trail and dedicate it to Jane Beasley, the former owner of Birds and Beasleys in Helena. Jane passed away last year. The current owner, Jane's daughter Sandy, says Jane had a big admiration for nature and birds. This trail represents what Jane cared for, having nature bring the community together.
Okay, it brought tears to my eyes. It was just really cool. Mom was a pretty special person to all of us, but I've worked with her hand in hand for the last 24 years, and so she just loved nature and people. So when Audubon called us up and said, hey, you know, we're going to do this trail, I was just shocked because I was thinking the memorial would go to something else. It's just been really, really touching.
Montana Conservation Corps and AmeriCorps members did the labor on the trail. Sandy hopes to get a sign up for it to officially be named the Jane Beasley Memorial Trail.
Well, up next, your weather forecast. Very dry and hot conditions continue here this week as we take a little bit closer look at the drought monitor. Just south of Fort Peck there, we've kind of see some dry conditions pop up, still dry throughout the eastern plains. Down into south central Montana into Wyoming is where we're going to continue to see the driest conditions. Also tracking some new stage 1 burn restrictions along the high lines, south central Montana, and local burn bans pretty much all throughout western and north central Montana. More in your forecast is next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Jason Laird.
Well, good morning, friends. Glad to have you along for the ride here. 59 already in Great Falls, 60 degrees in the capital. Looking at the mid-60s, even some upper 60s there throughout the eastern plains. Overall, big talking point, a hot forecast as we kick off a new work week. Heat advisory in effect that has been extended into north central Montana. It was just throughout the eastern plains, but those temperatures expected to continue to climb in our area as well. Today, you can expect 98 degrees in Great Falls. Same story for the capital. Flirting with the triple digits west of the divide and looking throughout the eastern plains, the low hundreds in that region. 103 in Jordan, 100 degrees today in Glasgow, 101 as we head to the High Line near Havre. So again, we're looking at pressure levels on the map. That's what these little white lines are. That really shows us that ridge of high pressure that's planted across the state. Can't rule out a few little spotty storms, primarily down into southwestern Montana. A couple of those storms over the mountains here today. Very minimal coverage and very isolated. Biggest concern there is some dry lightning with these systems overnight into tomorrow morning. And of course, with the dry conditions, heightened fire danger there. We'll see overnight lows at about 65 in Great Falls, 63 in the capital, mid-60s throughout the eastern plains for your overnight lows. Tomorrow, that heat advisory is going to remain in effect. We do have a fire weather watch that will be going into effect tomorrow. That particular area will see a little bit of an uptick in the wind. So again, adding that variable to the mix, increasing the fire danger. 95 tomorrow in Great Falls, 94 in the capital, cooler west of the divide, and looking at a couple of triple digits still throughout the eastern plains, but a little bit cooler. by Wednesday, we'll continue to kind of back those temperatures off a little bit. Tomorrow, part of the reason we're going to see slightly cooler temperatures is a little bit of an increase in cloud cover. A couple of those storms may make their way a little bit further north. Again, most of these systems will remain over the mountains, but a couple little isolated storms not out of the question making their way throughout central Montana. Very minimal, though, not enough to, cancel plans over construction projects. Just keep an eye to the sky there. We'll see Wednesday's temperature slightly cooler at 91 in Great Falls, 88 in the capital, high 80s still throughout the eastern plains. Very, very hot one. Really, the big talking point is that ridge of high pressure is going to pretty much stick with us. We'll see a couple little hiccups there, which will open up the door Wednesday evening and Thursday evening for a couple of storms to make their way throughout central Montana. They're going to stay very isolated and sporadic, but again, Wednesday and Thursday will present the best chance of increase in coverage out of those storms. But as you notice, as we head into the weekend, high pressure going to continue to hang with us, and that's going to keep temperatures very, very hot. So we'll see 98 today. We'll gradually kind of cool off a little bit toward Wednesday into Thursday, open up the door for a couple of storms, but then hot again as we head into the weekend. For the capital, 98 toasty degrees today, cooler Wednesday, Thursday, but back into the 90s as we head into the weekend. Shannon.
All right, thanks, Jason. Don't go away. We're celebrating some birthdays still to come on Montana This Morning.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
And welcome back. Time now for birthdays and anniversaries. What is the time?
6:26.
6:26 on your Monday morning here, so let's get right to it. Big happy birthday to Bill Cantwell today. And continuing, Muzzy Mazzana. Is that how you say that?
I would say
Muzzy
that.
Mazzana.
Mazzana?
Mazzana.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you as well. And Chad Taylor celebrating his 41st birthday. It says, happy 41st birthday to my red-bearded mountain man.
I like that.
That's
All right.
outstanding.
And we want to wish a happy birthday to George Potts, celebrating a birthday today. And then a happy birthday to Amy Mann on this Monday as well. And finally.
And of course, with the Chamber of Commerce there, Shane Esweiler, big birthday today as well.
All right, and we got some music. We got some celebration
Some
music. Get you jazzed up a little bit here for the
Need
for
all the help we
birthday.
can get here on a Monday
It's
morning.
true. To wake ourselves up here. All right, and of course you can submit birthdays. Just head to our website, fill out that form, and send them our way.
That's right. As you're heading out the door, weather-wise here this morning, not a bad start to the day. Pretty mild already. Again, smoke plume forecast not saying that we're going to see much smoke, but it looks a little hazy out there. I think given the high pressure and just the way the jet stream is rolling through, we're probably going to see some haze out there today. U.S. Bank ICAM reading in at 58 right now, humidity at 47%. As of right now in the capital, sitting at 65 already on the Opportunity Bank ICAM. Pretty minimal wind, but a little bit of an uptick in wind tomorrow, especially in north central Montana. So fire variables, thankfully today we're not really tracking much in the way of wind. That does not necessarily mean that a fire couldn't spread quickly, but again, we've got pretty much all the variables needed there. And of course, a heat advisory remaining in effect here for the eastern plains and north central Montana. So a very hot one on tap, looking at 98 in Great Falls and the capital with mostly sunny skies today. Glasgow 100 degrees, and even Cutbank at 95 today.
Toasty. All right, well, don't go away. Montana This Morning continues right after this. Coming up this half hour, firefighters were busy fending off a blaze just north of Great Falls. We'll take you there. Plus, lawmakers are being called back from break to make decisions about the Postal Service. We'll share the latest. And coming up later, pepperoni pizza fans, your favorite topping could be in jeopardy. We'll explain why. Montana This Morning starts now. Good. Oh.
It likes to do that sometimes.
It does that sometimes.
Hey!
Hello. Good morning. It's Monday.
Yep, that
Monday
it is.
morning.
That it is. It was totally fine. The computer, of course, acting up for bright and early this morning.
Right.
It did a little bit better for a while, and then
Now
it clearly had a mood
needs a nap
swing
again.
there again. Yeah,
Needs a nap.
that's all right.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
okay. Here we are. Hot this week. I
Oh,
got to mentally
extremely.
prepare for the heat this
Yeah.
week.
I mean, I'm all about the heat, but It's going to be really
It's gonna be
hot.
toasty.
Yeah.
I think it's always good to remember when you're out there sweating in the heat.
Yeah.
It's going to be 30 below, and before
I
we
thought you
know
were
it.
going to say drink water. I was like, yes, that is some
No.
smart advice. But yes, it is
No,
going to be.
keep in perspective here.
I know. I'm not going to complain
long-lived.
about the heat one bit because, winter, fortunately, around the corner. 58 degrees here right now in Great Falls. Looks a little hazy out there. The smoke plume forecast hasn't really anticipated much smoke across the region today, but I think we are going to see some. Opportunity Bank ICAM 65 already. Humidity continuing to fall 39% at this hour. In Geyser, looking at a nice sunrise there. 62, very low humidity already at 35%, so very, very dry. And Monarch Pass this morning looking gorgeous as always. 48 degrees, humidity at 57%. And downtown Fort Benton looking good as well. Today's UV index, I don't necessarily buy. This comes straight from the EPA, but they're rating it at 7. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually going to be a little higher than that. But anywho, we'll break down that forecast, let you know just how hot it's expected to get today very shortly. Shannon.
All right, Jason, thank you. Time now is 6:33. Black Eagle firefighters tell us the cause of a wildfire that ignited north of Great Falls Sunday afternoon started from a person shooting tannerite. Black Eagle Fire Chief Doug Coster said the fire ignited at 123 Lake Flat Lane. Initially, those calls happened around 3 p.m. Video and pictures from near the fire show flames spreading through coulees as well as near homes along the Lake Flat Lane ridge. About 100 acres burned over several hours as crews tackled flames from above and below to contain the spread. It burned mainly grazing land. Coster says crews put out the fire before it burnt a wheat field or any nearby homes. Firefighters had it under control shortly before 6 p.m. and they continued mopping up for several hours. We have more details on our website. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi is calling lawmakers back in from their summer recess over the situation with the U.S. Postal Service. Trump's newly appointed Postmaster General is sparking outcry with calls for major cuts that will lead to big delays in mail. It comes as millions of Americans prepare to vote by mail for the upcoming election. The House is expected to discuss a time to meet today and vote on the Delivering for America Act next Saturday. That would keep the Postal Service from making any operational changes that it didn't already have in place at the start of the year. And as people worry about their local post offices closing, merchandise sales are way up. Many Americans are trying to show their support as offices cut hours and get rid of equipment like high-speed letter sorters. The changes were made by the new Postmaster General, Luis DeJoy, who says it's because of funding issues. Things like T-shirts, backpacks, and hoodies were selling out over the weekend. There's also been an uptick in the number of people buying stamps. Well, tonight is the start of the Democratic National Convention, an event that is traditionally the biggest gathering of Democrats every 4 years. With coronavirus, though, will obviously be a bit different. So what can you expect? Here's our Joe St. George.
If these were normal times on this Monday morning, we would be greeting you from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, perhaps showing you a majestic drone shot of all that Wisconsin has to offer. But these are not normal times, and tonight's Democratic Convention will look very different from the one 4 years ago. For one thing, there won't be crowded arenas like the ones that greeted Hillary Clinton.
How are you going to be watching the Democratic Convention?
I'm watching on Amazon Fire TV.
Democrats know there's a chance this could mean fewer Americans tune in and watch. It's why they produced this advertisement. Convention planners tell me they've also hired additional production crews to make this convention pop, and we've already seen some signs of that in recent press events with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in recent days. But in previous years, watching these conventions at home was really all about the speeches, and there will be plenty of speeches beginning this evening. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is tonight's keynote speaker. Senator Bernie Sanders will speak, along with Ohio's former Governor John Kasich and Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Not to be outdone, President Trump is also speaking today in swing states. He'll be speaking in Minnesota and Wisconsin this afternoon. In Washington and not Wisconsin, I'm Joe St. George.
State judges presiding over Montana's drug treatment courts say they're a much better route than throwing addicts in prison. But late last week, treatment court officials told us that U.S. Senator Steve Daines could use more resources for more courts and that the pandemic isn't helping either. Members of Helena's drug court treatment team met with Senator Daines on Friday to talk about successes and struggles. Two drug treatment court graduates, Don Knowles and Joe Wolfers, said that the program has helped them recover after years of addiction and family trauma. Daines said he's a big proponent of treatment courts, which sometimes can be funded by federal money. Helena Treatment Court Judge James Reynolds and another 80 families in Helena could benefit from the courts, and they should certainly be expanded. He also said the pandemic has made it harder by restricting how much he can interact with treatment court participants face to face.
I gotta look at them. They gotta look at me, I gotta look at them, and we gotta talk about what's going on. I'm not sitting up here waiting for you to screw up so I can throw the book at you, you know. We all take those hats off, put on these other hats, and we're working as a team to give you the best chance to be a success in your life.
Listening to the results of these treatment courts tells a very compelling story. This is something we should continue to invest in. Men and women who are on paths of addiction and headed towards prison go through the treatment court process, and they come out as productive members of society by holding them accountable.
State judges like Reynolds must run the treatment court, yet still manage a full docket of other cases, both civil and criminal. Montana DPHHS is now reporting 92 new coronavirus cases in the state Sunday. That brings our active case total to over 1,500. Cascade County is sitting at 45 cases, Lewis and Clark 65. More than 4,100 people have recovered so far. Every year before school starts, 5 Falls Christian School faculty and parents gather up their sanitation supplies and get to spraying for a fresh start to the new year. MTN's Lindsay Hyatt tells us what families and faculty expect in the school year ahead.
Clean up and head down because school is about to begin.
This year we think it's extra important to get everything really sanitized before the kids come.
33-year teacher Arlene Lambert may have 3 decades of teaching in the books, but even they couldn't prepare her for a school year like this.
This is something totally new. It's like almost being a first-year teacher again.
This year will feature face masks, desk shields, and daily cleaning regimens.
The teachers will be sanitizing high-touch areas twice a day, and then everything once a day.
Lambert said she plans to treat these daily precautions as
the new normal. I don't think I'm going to concentrate a lot on the virus. We're just going to get on with learning and having fun. And I think the kids can still have a lot of fun, even though things will be a little different for them.
Over the past 5 months, she's kept parents up to date with these new changes.
Most of them are fine with this.
Like parent of 2 Five Falls students, Brandon Franklin.
Sounds like there's going to be lots of daily cleanings and appropriate precautions, so I think it's going to be handled very well.
Franklin said he was more concerned that his children wouldn't be able to return to school this year.
I think their biggest concern is probably just that school will not be able to take place here, that they would have to do it online, and they would miss seeing their friends again.
He and his boys are grateful they can head back to a safe and social school environment.
I'm really just happy to send the kids back. They're actually very anxious for school to start. We delayed a week for extra time to get everything ready, so we're just excited for school to start.
In Great Falls, Lindsay Hyatt, MTN News.
Five Falls Christian School students will head back to school Monday, August 31st, the week after Great Falls Public Schools return. It's Monday morning here on Montana This Morning. Time now is 6:40. Coming up, straight to consumers, a look at the do's and don'ts of ag marketing.
And later in your weather forecast, the big talking points. We've seen some high pressure ridges build over the state, but this one rather impressive, and it's pretty much sticking with us all week long. There will be a couple little hiccups that will open up the door for maybe a spotty storm or two, but overall, high pressure dictating the forecast, allowing for hot and clear skies across the board. More on your forecast coming up.
From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Good morning to you. We're so glad to have you along. You're looking live over Great Falls on this Monday morning. It's August 17th. Time now is 6:43. Welcome back. In this morning's Montana Ag Network feature, Lane Nordland introduces us to a Molt, Montana rancher who's taking her knowledge and experience of direct marketing meat to consumers and sharing it in an upcoming webinar series.
In 2015, rancher Sarah and Hank Hollenbeck started High Five Meats, selling their ranch meat directly to consumers. Starting on Tuesday, August 18th, High Five Meats will share their knowledge on the do's and don'ts of direct marketing through a webinar series.
I've spoken at a number of conferences over the years, and a lot of people come up to me afterward and say, I've always wanted to try it, but I just don't know how to get started. I don't know how to begin. And so I've been getting just, bombarded with questions from people on the internet, in person, all the time asking me questions. And I love answering them. I love connecting with people one-on-one. But I see this huge need for someone like myself that has been doing it for a few years and can kind of give them the information that they need to get started.
The webinar series will begin on Tuesday, August 18th and occur consecutively for the next 4 Tuesdays in a row. The topics for the direct-to-consumer webinar series include starting out, pricing, processing, marketing, and shipping. In total, expert guests will discuss every aspect of the direct-to-consumer model.
Given current times, a lot of people are interested in selling their own meat. I thought, okay, instead of someone trying to jump into this, not necessarily know exactly what they're doing, maybe giving a customer a bad first interaction, I don't want that to happen. I want it to be a good, positive relationship on the rancher's side, on the customer side. And so I think if I can give some information on how to make that a seamless interaction, that will hopefully keep people coming back and trying to buy direct from a ranch or farm.
Reporting, Lane Nordlund, MTN News.
Well, pepperoni is the latest commodity in short supply because of the coronavirus. Prices for the cured sausages have shot up 50% this summer, and some pizza shop owners say at times they haven't been able to find any to buy. Experts say pepperoni production is particularly labor intensive, and most meat plants simply haven't had enough workers available since the pandemic began. Jason, what are you going to do about your pizza?
I don't know. I'm very distraught about the pepperoni shortage. All right, today's forecast hour by hour. It's going to start out pretty hot, partly cloudy. Already by the noon hour, we'll be touching into the 90s, high 90s on tap this afternoon with mostly sunny skies. Today in the capital, 65 degrees as you're heading out the door. Well into the 80s by the noon hour and then 90s this afternoon. Very hot and dry. We are looking at a couple of isolated storms in the mix as well. Break down that forecast next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Jason Laird.
Tracking a hot and dry week ahead. Good morning, everybody. 59 in Great Falls at this hour, 60 in the capital. Looking at a few mid-60s throughout the eastern plains. Very mild start to the day, and with all this heat on tap, National Weather Service has put a heat advisory in effect. That has been extended this morning to encompass a lot of north central Montana along with the eastern plains here today. Give you an idea of what we're looking at, 98 in Great Falls. Same story for the capital, flirting with the triple digits west of the divide. Likely hitting the triple digits and well into the triple digits throughout the eastern plains. 101 in Havre today, 100 degrees in Glasgow, 103 in Jordan. You're looking at the pressure levels right now. That kind of shows us where that big high pressure ridge is camped out, and that's the system that's offering the very hot and dry conditions this week. It's going to create that big dome of pressure over top of the state, and you'll also notice some very isolated storms not out of the question, primarily in southwestern Montana today. I guess the biggest concern with these are going to be the fact that we could see a little bit of dry lightning, that sort of thing over the mountains, which again could kind of enhance the fire danger throughout the area. 65 this evening, staying pretty mild in the capital as well at 63, and looking at the low to mid 60s throughout the eastern plains as well. Heat advisory continues tomorrow. We are going to see a little uptick in the wind in north central Montana, so there is a fire watch that will be going into effect for that region. And again, not overly windy, but we've got such low humidity levels and such hot air that it won't take much for those fire weather concerns to continue to ramp up. 95 degrees tomorrow, so cooling off slightly in Great Falls. Same story for the capital, still in the triple digits there throughout the eastern plains on your Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll see a slight increase in clouds. That will help to keep those temperatures a little bit cooler and a little bit better chance of seeing some little isolated storms breaking out of the mountains, traveling throughout central Montana. Not really enough coverage out of these storms, or even really certainty for that matter to cancel any plans. Just kind of keep an eye to the sky there, and then clearing up overnight. By Wednesday, we'll see again slight cool down. Still very hot though, 91 in Great Falls, 88 in the capital, well into the 90s throughout the eastern plains. That high pressure ridge is pretty much going to stick with us. On Wednesday, we'll have a little bit better chance of some moisture maybe making its way into central Montana. Same story on Thursday, little hiccup there in that high pressure ridge, but overall it's just going to continue to re-amplify as we head toward the weekend, keeping us very hot and dry over the next couple of days, and you'll notice not really breaking down at all as we head through the weekend. Here's how it comes together for us. 98 today, a little bit cooler through Wednesday into Thursday, but then we're going to get right back into the 90s as we head into the weekend. As for the capital today, 98 degrees, mid-90s tomorrow, a little bit cooler Wednesday, Thursday, warming back up though as we head into the weekend. Shannon.
Jason, thank you. Time now is 6:51. Wall Street finished mixed last week. The Dow rose 34 points on Friday. The Nasdaq fell 23. The S&P 500 was down less than a point. Numbers out this morning show the devastating economic effect the COVID-19 pandemic has had on Japan, the world's third largest economy after the U.S. and China. Between April and June, Japan's economy shrank at an annual rate of 27.8%. The Japanese government says it was the most severe contraction ever recorded. Well, for people looking to make a career change, a new tool is on its way to help. The AI site Pymetrics is launching a new feature called Reskill and Restart. It will help job seekers find what they may be good at based on cognitive, social, and emotional aptitudes. The tool will also look at what skills people are lacking, what they need to launch a new career, and match them with potential employers. The tool comes out in September. It will be free to use.
Coming up, a convention unlike any other gets underway. Senator Cory Booker talks about how Democrats can avoid their mistakes of 2016. Plus, Dolly Parton joins us about her passion for helping kids learn how to read. Coming up on CBS This Morning.
Welcome back at 6:55. Let's get you out the door with a couple of the day's top stories on this Monday, August 17th, 2020. Montana Dphhs is reporting 92 new coronavirus cases in the state Sunday. That brings our state's active total to over 1,500. Cascade County is sitting at 45 cases. Lewis and Clark has 65. More than 4,100 people have recovered so far. And Black Eagle firefighters say a fire that ignited north of Great Falls Sunday afternoon was caused by a person shooting tannerite. Video and pictures from near the fire show flames spreading through coulees and near homes along Lake Flat Lane Ridge line. Around 100 acres burned, mainly of grazing land, over several hours. Crews had that fire under control shortly before 6 p.m. and continued mopping up for several hours. All right, it is Monday. What does that mean, Jason?
Mugshot Monday.
Mugshot Monday.
Yeah. All right. Looking at obviously a previous winner here with some KRTV mugs there, out doing a little bit of camping, of course. Looking good. This was last week's winner.
I love this one.
Yep,
it's hard to perspective there, but huge dog, huge chair. Yes.
Right. Still can't move on from this one. Too good.
So
dog passed out there in the chair. Of course, Marlene always has some pretty creative ones there for Mugshot Monday.
This is one of my favorites.
Yes.
So perfect
That's an
timing.
Outstanding one there. And Tia sending that one in there with a little, I think that's one of those like bug, like the citronella candles or something like that. Jonathan.
Ooh, another one of my favorites.
Yep. Of course, getting all caffeinated up there. And Aaron sending this one in. I believe that is the Sweetgrass Hills there in the background. So
good deal.
Very cool. And today's winner, big drum roll, please.
Drum roll. We need to get that like sound effect in
I know,
somewhere
like
so it's not just me.
Yeah,
Hey,
Aaron, there you go. Going to be sending you out a gift certificate for Morning Light Coffee Roasters here in Great Falls, of course. So do appreciate you sending that in. And get those mug shots in bright and early. Post them right to our Facebook page using hashtag Mugshot Monday. We'll pick a creative and our favorite one then next Monday and get you some coffee from Morning Light Coffee Roasters.
Yeah.
Can't beat it there, right?
Looking forward to seeing your submissions.
That's right. Get them in early. All right. Currently in Great Falls as you're heading out the door here bright and early this morning. Looking at kind of hazy skies on the U.S. Bank iCam. 56 degrees, humidity levels are going to trend pretty low. A little bit of a breeze out there, but not a huge concern fire danger-wise. I mean, the fire danger is heightened, but wind not really playing into that a ton. 63 right now in the capital, so the fire variables, pretty much everything other than wind. However, we will see an uptick in the wind in north central Montana tomorrow. As for active burn restrictions, pretty much blanketing western Montana, quite a few stage 1 restrictions along the High Line and down into south central Montana. And of course, weather alerts. We do have a heat advisory in effect here today, and no secret there, it's going to be a hot one. 98 in Great Falls, 98 in the capital, looking at 100 in Glasgow, and Cutbank at 95.
Triple digits there. All right. Well, of course, our news doesn't stop here. Get continuous updates throughout the day online.
See you soon.